Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Virche Fantasy, Epic Lycoris, whatever it's called. Anyway, we finished Adolphe's route last time and got our first end. It wasn't a good one. It was kind of whatever. And now we're gonna get our other bad end. Well, our other end, air quotes around that, and then we'll do the bad ends for this. But like, they're all freaking bad, so I don't really know what categorizes us both dying any different than a bad end, but whatever. So we're gonna get the other end, which is called watching over death, and so we're gonna say to live this time. And this was at that point of, you know, in the field. Story of suffering. Isn't that what the other one? What the fuck was the other one called? Was it maybe Salvation? Was that it? I don't know. But anyway, story of suffering. Okay. Spacey's mouth parted slightly, but in her current state, trying to speak a single word must be causing immense pain, as she took a long time doing so. Feeling no need to rush her, I simply waited for her to give her answer. To live, I heard Spacey's courageous answer. I see. I see. To be honest, I wish she had told me she wanted to die with dignity. But if she just wanted to be with me, I didn't want to see Spacey have to suffer any longer just for that, so I choked her anyway. That would be seriously fucked up. And Spacey told me that she wanted to live. She told me clearly with her own lips, without hate toward the world, and in fact, with love for it. I think it's more you that she loves. Oh, look at you, you beautiful bastard. You really are strong. Now, I'm probably just stupid, but if I were in your place, I'd have hated the world, thinking it was such a cruel place to be. Again, I don't think we love the world so much as it's you being in the world that we love. You know. But sure. But I understand. If that's what you wish, I'll make it come true for you. I smiled and held Spacey in her weakened state. Fortunately, my lifespan will last more than enough. No matter what happens to you, I'll stay by your side until you're gone. How's he gonna fake? Okay, well now it doesn't matter, because like the whole world's gone to shit. But it's like, how is he gonna hide when he's like 80? It's gonna be a little weird, but as I held her, Spacey's skin tore, exposing the blood underneath. A premonition of her bodily collapse. Eventually, even the Lycoris would disappear from her skin, and the woman I loved would become nothing more than a mass of flesh. I was so terrified of the future that awaited my beloved, brought about by my own hands. It's more like Katnissi's hands, to be fair. But that was simply the one thing I could do for her, as helpless as I was. I need to accept this cruel, long future. The end. Oh, it really was the end. Okay. Is there an after story to this one? Okay. After that, I took Spacey away, hiding ourselves from everyone else. There was no longer any practical way to suppress her symptoms apart from bedside care. Above all, I couldn't stand the idea of Spacey being exposed to outsiders, gawking at her with their advancing symptoms. I'm literally just laying there, so nobody would really be gawking at me. What I came upon after my wandering was a small dwelling, isolated from anyone else. There was evidence of people having lived there with the bare essential furnishings. I was now living an isolated, self-sustaining lifestyle with Spacey. Phew. Wiping the sweat from my neck, I harvested the vegetables we needed. It sure is a quiet life. At least on the surface. I noticed the sweat I had wiped off was mixed with blood that had oozed from my neck. A faint stain of blood seeped into my clothes, which had been washed just earlier. If she were still of sound mind, I'm sure she'd fuss over my clothing being stained. Are the toxins slowly getting to him? But Spacey wasn't able to speak in her current condition. She was the one responsible for making more of these wounds. It's all right, Spacey. Calm down. I held down Spacey as she flailed on the bed, struggling to embrace her body as blood was shed with every movement. No other way to escape her pain, Spacey grabbed hold of me in return and pierced her teeth into my shoulder, the same as countless times before. Oh, we're like mauling him to death. Okay, fun. The strength in her bites grew stronger, at times even tearing off flesh in an attempt to relieve herself of her own pain. This is some fucked up shit. This is worse than choking me to death. I mean, honestly, I'm just not gonna say. I'm gonna say, like, when we went to that ending, it's like, yes, it's a tragic end, but obviously the best option, choke me to death. I mean, because again, it's more personal than stabbing me, sure, but like, it's more intimate, is what it is, than stabbing me. But like, I'm not like, wow, she chose to die. I would have been like, yeah, no, right choice. But like, And to be honest, it hurt so badly that I could die. Because the immortality from the cells Onko transplanted into me were now long gone. With each of her seizures, the wounds across my body increased in number. Ah, so like, the immortality in the cells only lasted so long. I mean, that makes sense, because your cells regenerate and stuff, so. But I didn't consider that a burden. I know it's so hard. It's so painful. Even though it's even hard for you to just breathe, I'm glad you're alive another day. Because the love I had for Spacey, as she fought every day to live, was so much stronger than the pain. Spacey continued to gnaw violently at my shoulder. Bite as much as you want, because at some point she might not even be able to do that. I really am selfish. At first all I wanted was to keep her from suffering. But seeing Spacey alive now, I just wanted her to continue living, no matter what she becomes. Even if, in others' eyes, she becomes nothing more than a monstrous beast. Kind of almost at that point, to be fair. I decided that every time Spacey felt such pain, that I would ask her quietly, "Oh, CG time." Did I know we got a CG with this one? I did not know. It didn't say. "For as long as you live, this pain will continue. Spacey, do you still want to live?" And then Spacey gradually stopped and answered me, "Want to live. Be with you." Even though she had lost her mind to the pain long ago. I see. So you want to live today, too? I was always so happy to hear that, yet also in pain myself, knowing that I was the cause of Spacey's suffering. Spacey cried out again, yet as she shouted and thrashed, I simply accepted it. In the beginning, I had cried so much at the fact that I wasn't able to take away her pain. Eventually all my tears had dried up. If I had time to cry, I had time to help Spacey. I was sure the Watchman of Death would give me some annoying taunt like that to remind me of what I needed to do. Of course, there were plenty of times when I just broke. I thought countless times now that ending it all would be for Spacey's sake too. Still, so long as Spacey wishes it, I chose to safeguard her life. I could never call this life a happy one. But despite all this, we had no reason to be pitied by others. It's all right, Spacey. No matter how much pain I'm in, I won't run away from you. I patted Spacey on the head and stroked her hair like I used to. Oh, wait. And come to think of it, I just remembered. There's something important that I never told you. I realized what was happening and smiled. I was about to take the easy way out again as Spacey's older brother and ignore her feelings. You've told me so many times now that you want to live by my side. I've known a long time what it was you really felt toward me. I'm sorry to make you wait for so long. I'll say it now. I turned Spacey's face toward me as she cried. I love you, Spacey. From the bottom of my heart, I love you. I poured all the feelings I had into my words. It didn't matter if my words couldn't reach her anymore. She's like, "This is the only reason I was holding on, bitch!" Like, seriously? Rude. I'm like been on the verge of death for a long time. And you couldn't muster up the stones to tell me you love me until now? Obviously, it's because they wanted it to be in the game. You wanted that moment in the game, but like, still, man! God damn, Adolphe, what the hell? That's what you should be like down on yourself about. You're like being a little pussy about this whole thing. Like, what the shit? Like, what the fuck? And the only thing I knew for sure was that, alongside the Lycoris, these feelings would continue to blossom forever. I grazed her lips with a kiss and smiled, holding myself back from falling deeper into despair. It'll be a cruel life, but I hope you'll live it with me, Spacey. Oh, and now you say that, and that's going to make me want to stick around. Now it's my turn to be death and watch over you. And it's like, this is the kiss we get. It's actually, to be fair, aside from like the blooms all over her look painful as fuck, and it's a tragic CD, it's a beautiful one at least. The other ones were like, oh, these are sad. And we have him dying, and then we have him looking tragic, and at least this one's pretty, you know? I wouldn't be able to take care of you if I was old and wrinkled, but no matter how many wounds I sustain, I'll stay and live by your side. And that was the proof of love from a man so helpless, whose only worth was being tough. Well, the thing is I would hope I would actually die before you got old and frail. I'm just saying. Could you imagine living like this for another 40, 50 fucking years? I'll make your wish to live come true. I'm sorry if that means you have to suffer. Still, thanks for being alive. I don't mind getting hurt at all. This is the only way I can express my love, but I'll always be by your side to watch over you as death. I don't remember if the other one... I know they have these, but did the other one have one and I missed it? Because maybe I was too busy thinking and I don't remember... Like, shit. Oh, well. Whatever. You could... listen, if I did, you could at least rewind that video and pause in that moment to see it. Oh, these stay... I read it fast because I thought they disappeared. I guess they only disappear... Okay. Now they do. They gave you enough time to read it. Okay. So that was that. And now we're going to get our bad ends. Which is... We only saved 2. Yes. So this is it. Okay, the other ones were Cyan's endings. Do I still think of him as only a brother? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But wanting to be with him, no matter what happens, this feeling... Okay. And then we're going to skip through. We're going to go through the agony and do whatever. And we're going to make another save file in the exact spot with the other one to live and die. And that's the difference on our bad endings. I guess I can see why the tragic romance endings are not considered bad endings, because at least in those we were like, no, he's not my brother. I love him to death. I love him, love him, love him. I love him to death, quite literally. You know, and then this one is like, I don't know. And then we're like, I want to live. And then it's like not as romantic. And then, or I'm going to die. And then he's going to stab us or something. And it's not going to be as, I don't know. But this one, what a normal person can do, bad end, we choose to die. Okay. And story of separation. This is all. Okay, it's mostly the same. Okay. I tried to put strength into the hands that held Spacey's neck, but my body just couldn't stop shaking and I couldn't do it. All this time I pictured killing Spacey again and again to make sure I could. Love. Just that one word. That was all it took to awaken my lingering desires, strong enough to break what little resolve I had. My hand slid off Spacey's neck. Interesting. So when she has the realization that she's in love with him and then chooses to die, he can easily kill her because it's what she wants. They love each whatever. But when she's like, I don't know, is he like just like my brother? No, I think I love him. Then when she's like, I want to die, and then she's like, I love you, and then he's like, I can't kill you now. Really odd. Okay. I shouted as I held her listless body with all my strength. Save her. And what spilled out of me was a plea to a god that didn't exist. Save Spacey. Please. I'll do anything I can, so please. I just couldn't kill her. I still want to live with her. I want her to live, and I want to answer her confession to me. I shouted so that Spacey would hear me. But all that answered back was the sound of the wind blowing across the swaying Lycoris. As I was crying like a fool, unable to either keep Spacey alive or kill her. The one who offered a hand in aid wasn't God, but a man clad in black. Did Anko kill me? I saw a small hole had opened up in Spacey's heart. Yeah, because he's the one with the gun, so... Bright red liquid splattered against our surroundings. At the same time, Spacey convulsed once. And then her body went limp as if she had simply fallen asleep. Spacey? She didn't respond. So, I mean, obviously, like, the tragic, beautiful end, the tragic romantic end is the intimacy of him choking me to death and then dying with me. You know what I mean? And then this is like, he can't do it, Anko does it, and then, like, yeah. I mean, we all end up dead in the end, but, like, whatever. Oh, okay, except for the last one where we were just alive, suffering in an agony, and that was just, please pull the plug, Jesus. It looked as if she was only asleep, but her punctured chest no longer moved with her breathing. Spacey. Spacey. Spacey! No matter how many times I called to her, no matter how many times I shook her body. I imagined this would happen. As I sat there speechless, the watchman of death stood quietly behind me. Anko. I can't blame you. If I were in your place, I would have asked for her to be saved, just as you did. You technically weren't as... I know there's a different version, because that's not the timeline you came from, but, like, so... I realized what he meant by that. I see. You killed her for me while I was still struggling. I felt no hatred toward Anko. The more I struggled with my decision, the more Spacey would suffer and hate the world she once loved. But... she won't ever move again. She won't ever say my name again. The despair over losing Spacey just wouldn't stop pouring out of me. As I hung my head down, Anko held up his metal weapon against it. The weapon that pierced through Spacey. Oh, look, and Anko's gonna put him out of his misery. Nice. Even though I knew it could easily tear a hole in a person's body, I wasn't afraid. I'm sure you're at your limit. I'll follow you both soon. Go on first to Hades and see the princess. Even a regular person should be capable of that? Should be capable of that, at least. Right. Yeah. After Anko saw that I wasn't resisting, he rested his finger back on the trigger. This time, let's go somewhere no one else can bother the three of us. I mean, it's not really a man harem if you're two boyfriends. It's not really it's not really a man harem because it's only two boyfriends, but still, it's a baby man harem. It's your throuple. But is it really a throuple if your two boyfriends are literally the same person? Just split, and not even like split personality. They're in two different bodies. Like, well, they're both the same person. So you have one boyfriend. No, they're two. Like, you see, there was a timeline where I died, and that created Anko, who used to be Adolphe, but he turned into Anko. And then he went back in time and stopped me from dying, and now we have this current version timeline of Adolphe, but Anko used to be Adolphe, so technically it's like future Adolphe, but like a different future Adolphe. Like, you imagine trying to explain that to someone? But like, is it really a throuple if your two boyfriends were at one point in time the same person and technically are the same person, but now are different people, but still the same person? And is it weird having like a group thing going on in like I mean, for Adolphe, it's like, well, it's not really gay because you're just fooling around with yourself in a way. So, like, I'm sorry, this just brings up these questions when they're like, let's go summon, no one will bother the three of us. Adolphe's like, you're basically me, so there's nothing weird about it. Which is a little weird, but also not. But also, yeah, this is a conundrum. Like, this is one of those fun, like, thought experiments, you know? Like, sometimes they give it to you, like the trolley problem, right? Like, ooh, do you kill, like, one person that you know? Or, like, five people you don't know? Or, like, oh my God, like, whatever. And, like, yeah, sure, that's a moral conundrum and you got to figure that one out. But this is a different kind of conundrum that I feel like they should present to you in, like, philosophy classes or, like, thought exercises in, like, college. Just, okay, if you are in a throuple and your two partners are technically the same person, but also not anymore, what does that mean? You know what I mean? I don't think anyone ever. Could you fucking imagine that class? Could you just imagine you'd be staring at your professor like, what? What happened here? Also, best class ever, but what happened here? So you're welcome, Professor Spacey. I should get my glasses and put them on so I can fit the role, but just imagine, okay? Professor Spacey is here for all your fucking thought processing needs. Thought experimentation. There you go. Have fun with that one. Figure that one out. Mull on it a little. If she's able to smile with happiness, I'm willing to be stuck bickering with you forever. I mean, okay, I'm sorry. Now look at the look they're giving each other. This is adorable and sexy, and this is a bad end, but, like, I'm here for this. Because, like, we're all gonna die and go to hell together, and then we got a throuple going on and Adolphe and his other self, and, like, look at his beautiful little sultry face giving his little bedroom eyes to Anko over here. Like, come on. Are you shipping this now? And it's really weird because, again, is it like, oh, look at our little boyfriends, or is it like really because it's just Adolphe with himself? So it's really just, self-love. So, and there's nothing wrong with that. So, it's interesting. Fun times. Who knew we'd get to this point in this game? Who knew these thoughts were going to come out? Somebody who knew how this ending was going to go is probably expecting this from me. Was like, wait, space is going to get weird. I mean, when do I not? I'm disappointing if I don't. I could say the same to you, but before that... Ungo smiled as I looked back at him. Okay, now kiss before you die. Make sure you respond to the princess's confession. Got it? You don't intend on making her wait even in the afterlife, do you? You're right. I'd only been shouting about wanting her to be saved. I just realized now I never answered the confession she gave all of her strength and courage into expressing. Don't worry, Spacey. I'm coming down to Hades now. I never told you how I felt, but I won't hesitate anymore. The moment we meet again, I won't hold back. And I'll tell you that I love you. My despair in not being able to save her turned into hope for our reunion. Honestly, for a bad end, I think I like this one. I went off on my journey to the end in order to hold Spacey in my arms. I was expecting it to, like, end not before that line, because it just went black, and it's like, okay. But I kind of like that one as an ending, because it's like, it just sets up that fun little thought experiment conundrum, and then Anko's gonna follow us, and then the afterlife, look, we got a throuple now! That's a throuple ending, I'm counting it. I'm counting it as one. Listen, we have to do what we have to do with these things, okay? Because no game has ever given us a harem ending, right? Where we get multiple lovers. We just got to make it happen where it fits. We got to kind of just shove it in there, You like, use all available space when you're packing, right? That's what we're doing. We're like, okay, so you gave me this, I'm just going to jam the man harem in here. And if this is the way I can get a throuple ending out of this, and I mean, theoretically, if Hugo had never died in Eve's route, you could be like, well, I mean, I guess Hugo and Eve and I are a throuple, even though Hugo doesn't really like me because I take time away from his boyfriend. But, like, so, like, Eve is the center of that throuple. But, like, whatever, we can make it work,
And I know that there's people that don't like Hugo, but like, why don't you like him? He's adorable. He's an asshole sometimes, but I mean, you'd be an asshole too if someone was trying to steal your boyfriend away from you. Come on. Don't touch my cookies. You know what I'm saying? Spacey doesn't share cookies! Except for with the bird. Because then you can't not share cookies. He's like, cookies? No, you're not. He's not even moving. Are you dead? Okay, no, he flinched. Like, I got a little concerned. You're not moving. He's like, you got me the fuck up at the ass crack of dawn. I did. I know. Oh, we say to live this time. That one was what a normal person can do, and this is desire for the future. I know. I know. You got up very early. The sun wasn't the fuck even up. It's really rude of the sun to not be up. I had to get up super fucking early for a stupid work call, and I was like, I hate everything about everything. And what I wished and what Spacey wished, I felt utter relief from the fact that they were the same thing. Death could be a way for her to be saved. Even though I knew that, I just can't kill the woman I fell in love with. Unable to stop myself, I embraced Spacey's frail body. After using the last of her ability to answer, Spacey looked up at me innocently. In that expression, I didn't see a little sister, but a woman. You're so adorable. It didn't matter that her entire body was covered in blood and those markings. Spacey had the most adorable smile in the entire world right now. As long as you wish it, I swear I'll protect your life and your dignity. No matter what it might cost me. Now is the time to make my promise, not just with words, but into something real. How might I be able to save Spacey, who wished to live? I thought it over in my regular visits to the grave where my dear friend slept. There wasn't any point in her merely being alive. I really wanted Spacey to be able to live happily with a smile. I'll use my will, my life, everything I have. Once I made my decision, the answer came to me so easily. I suddenly took out my dagger, and without hesitation cut off my own left arm with its blade. And then before I could even groan from the pain, flesh erupted from the wound and my left arm regenerated. I don't ever remember Anko's regeneration powers being instant like that. I swear. I guess the effects of Anko's transplanting his cells into me are still there. And though I wasn't completely immortal, I could at least regenerate my body. The reason why he can't treat Spacey is because we don't even have a trace of the data we need. To put it another way, if we do have data of the same illness, we might be able to treat her. That train of thought led me to my answer. A normal person would easily die if they tried to recreate the same illness in themselves. But if I chop off my arm and recreate it in the arm? Because I'm like, what's the point of cutting off our arm? Unfortunately, I was a person who had obtained a sort of pseudo-immortality, although not completely formed. I would undergo any horrible experiment I needed to. Wait for me, Spacey. I'm sure it'll take time. But this time I'll save you. Even if I have to disappear. With that decision in mind, the next place I went was the Institute, which had been partially rebuilt.
I didn't think you'd actually act on this plan. I know I'm not one to talk, but are you sure you're sane?
I love science so much. Are you sure? Like, listen, I know I'm not one to judge crazy, but you might be crazy. Takes one to know one.
I haven't been sane since the day she became unresponsive. I replied right back to Cyan, who seemed uncharacteristically startled. Use my body to study the illness causing Spacey to suffer. Take however many years you need. Build a future where she can just be a normal person. Cyan stayed quiet for a moment in response to my plea.
It's true that you aren't perfectly immortal like that Watchman of Death. But even if we use you, half mortal as you are, I should be able to treat that girl and make her a normal person.
But, he continued,
once her treatment's over, you'll die. Your ability to regenerate your body will reach its limit. Not even I can stop the destruction of one's chromosomes.
That's fine.
I readied myself for death back at the Lycoris field. Yeah, okay, so I was like, at first I was thinking, so he's going to go and do this experiment. Like, how is that a bad ending unless it's just going to end and you don't know what happens? But this is basically telling you, oh yeah, I can cure her, but and you'll basically be dead. That's not a good ending for her. Like, she doesn't, well, she wants to live, but she wants to live with you. So she's going to get healed and be okay, and then you're dead, and that's why it's a bad ending. Use every cell, every drop of blood I have to save Spacey. Why can't you just inject you again with more of Anko's DNA or whatever? Because he gave you whatever in order, and now you still have the regenerative abilities, but why don't you just keep pumping that into you? Why don't you just like, ring, ring, hey, Anko, what's up, buddy? That's all I'm saying, right? Like, why is that not possible? Then it wouldn't be a bad end. I know, but still. Saving her through death was no longer an option. Oh, okay, yeah. Saving her through death was no longer an option. Saving her through her own death. But it's through death, just yours. But even if I wasn't as capable as Anko, who lived for Spacey's future, I finally found something I could do, useless as I was.
Fine. If you insist, I'll grant your wish as God.
With that, Cyan gestured for me to stand in the middle of the laboratory. I appreciate it. I found it odd for me to be thanking him as I came toward a pillar in the corner of the room. See you, Spacey. Here's where I say goodbye. I slowly lowered Spacey down, who still remained unconscious. The next time you wake up, you'll be free from pain. I know you'll probably hate me for deciding to die all on my own. Even now, I could imagine Spacey calling me an idiot as she cried. I'm just a normal guy who couldn't give you anything. But I finally found something I could do for you. Now that I'm shouldering both our feelings for us. In order to spare you from pain, I can choose this path without hesitation. Finally, I held Spacey's cheeks in my hand as she slept, and all this time, I've wanted to tell you that I love you. On her lips, I gave her a silent, selfish kiss. There was no reason for you to have to cry, Spacey. I was supposed to have died long ago. This was just happening a little later than it was supposed to. If the end of my life now gives Spacey a future, then it's fine. I let go of Spacey and headed to the center of the laboratory. Right when I stood in place, a capsule formed around me. I would suffer horrible pain here in the years to come. I wasn't afraid. The only thing I felt was hope that Spacey would be saved. I love your kind soul more than anyone in the world. Please, be happy. In a future where you were no longer death, where you could live with a smile on your face, but all my friends are dead, basically. But Anko's like, I could jump in and get her, because I could be like, I was a Dolphin once, so I'm basically still a Dolphin. So, at the end of it all, I'll be waiting for you. That sounded painful and gross. Well, there we go. That was all of our bad endings and all of our endings. Well, not all of our endings, just our endings for the encore round. So, and this is the only other CG that we got. Adorable. I see why that's a bad. At first, I was like, I'm not really sure. Okay, and now it makes some sense. It's a bad ending because she's going to end up waking up and Adolphe is going to be dead. So that kind of sucks. But the prior bad ending where it's like, I can understand why it's not one of the normal, standard tragic romantic ends because Adolphe didn't kill us himself. Anko did it. Technically, Adolphe killing us himself, but whatever, semantics. And then, whatnot. But I kind of didn't mind that one just because it brings up the throuple ending. I can pack a throuple into that one. So, Anko's like, hey, I'm going to follow after you guys. We'll be in hell together. And Adolphe being like, you know what? If I have to put up with you for eternity, I'm cool with that, man. And then they're finally going to have our little bromance. They're finally going to learn to love themselves, which just, you know what I mean? So, good. Adolphe will finally get some self-love from himself. Not the kind that he's used to. Because, I just mean Anko's really mean to him and is like constantly putting him down. And it's like, be nicer to yourself, damn it. So, and we could just have a little throuple in hell with our two boyfriends who are kind of the same person, but also kind of not. And, semantics questions, thought experiment, have fun with that. So, yeah, I think out of the bad endings, this one and that one was way better because we could have fun with that. I could see a continuation of that one. But between our two tragic romantic ends, this one, the CG was way better because this is a much better CG. Okay? It's beautiful. Even with her face with the markings and everything on it, like whatever, it's just beautiful the way he's holding her and stuff like that. So better CG, but while she's in constant agony and he's just like I know she says she wants to live, but it's still kind of like, I don't know if this was a good decision. And so the one where he strangles me and then kills himself, like that's the better one, I think. You know what I mean? Because it's a different kind of tragic. That's the standard tragic. You know what I mean? When you watch a movie or something, you're like, oh, it's a tragedy, this Shakespearean tragedy where they die. This is really tragic because it's like she's going to live, she's existing. She's not really living. She's just suffering in agony. And he is also kind of suffering in her agony because watching her be in this pain and not being able to do anything. And then her also lashing out at him in her own agony, like not voluntarily. And you know what I mean? So he's in physical pain and emotional pain. And it's like, so this was the bigger tragedy because it's an emotional, mental, and physical tragedy. And the other one is like, your standard Shakespearean tragedy where everyone dies. So, but yeah. None of them are good though. None of them are good. This sucked. Oh. But next time we get to do the... Oh, we'll look at this for a minute before the other one's where we're going to end it. But next time we're going to start doing the emotion ends. So we're going to do the despair, which has no choices, and that one's usually very short. And then we jump right into the salvation one, which I think has choices and stuff like that. So we'll start that next time. So yeah, I mean, the despair one ain't going to be good, but we've been here, so whatever. But the salvation one usually ends good, so okay. But anyway, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.